You can take the Neil out of Aberdeen. Hell, you can add another Neil in. Hell, Dave Cormack could kneel on one knee to get Sir Alex Ferguson in. It can't stop the fact that Aberdeen Football Club are a big sack of shite. Welcome back to Fog Football. They're in a relegation fight. You can't deny it. You cannot get away from it. Another defeat. Ross County closed the gap to 3. March 30th. Put it in your calendar. Ross County versus Aberdeen. Winner take all.
Yeah, what a game that is going to be. The Highlands, the teams north of Scotland, one of them could very well be playing in the Championship. They might be north of Scotland, but one of them could be going south, one of them could be going down, one of them could be going to the second tier. And Aberdeen now with 4 defeats in a row. Where did it all go wrong? 4 fucking defeats in a row to only accumulate 27 points after 29 games. They're not even averaging a point per game. Is this the worst Aberdeen side statistically that we've seen in our generation? I can't recall. And I know that there was one year they finished last and whatnot, but this points tally, it just seems like such a poor return. They've only got 6 wins all season. Jesus Christ. We thought it was going to get better. When they got knocked out of Europe, we weren't promised. We don't really care. But the belief was that Aberdeen were going to start winning games. When they didn't have Thursday night Europa League conference football, they were going to start being able to have more players fit. They weren't going to have the squad stretched as much, and they were going to start picking up wins regular, and they were going to actually put in a push for third place. And I mean, that's not happened. They've actually got worse since the European competition ended. They sacked Barry Robson, and they've actually got worse since they've done that. And I mean, who knows? They sacked Neil Warnock in the first game after a victory that he left on. They got beat 1-0 against Dundee in a pretty shite performance. So is there any saving this Aberdeen side? I don't know. I mean, if you're Neil Lennon, I mean, you're beginning to get to the point where you're thinking, does Neil Lennon even want to go to this team? It's a club that is, on average, in the last, 3 seasons, a manager can't even last 1 year. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's not a very attractive job right now. Not looking good for Aberdeen right now, and I would have to imagine that Ross County are probably favourites to overtake Aberdeen, and Aberdeen's only saving grace right now is the fact that Livingston just are not very good, or else they really, really would be in trouble. But they've got a 10-point buffer over Livy with 9 games to go. I don't think Livy will make up 10. I don't think Livy will get 10 points, to be honest, from now to the end of the season. So even if Aberdeen lost every other game, they're probably safe. But they're not safe from Ross County, and let's be honest, they're never making the top 6, so they're going to have 2 games against Ross County, and those matches will essentially be 6-pointers. And right now, you have to fancy Ross County in both of them.
You do have to fancy Ross County in both of them. And Hugh Keevan said on Super Scoreboard, I believe it was at the weekend, that Aberdeen are no longer a big club. What do you make of that? Is that a true statement? What you've got to look at it is, down in England, you've got teams like Everton, who haven't won leagues in 40 years, but Scotland, it's a special scenario where no one's won leagues for 40 years outside the Old Firm. So, can you really say they're not a big club? Obviously, in terms of Scotland, they still are, but it's like the days of them winning the league under Sir Alex, I mean, that's 40-odd years ago, man. That needs to be forgotten about.
Well, I just want to point out, I think Yuki Evans has definitely got an agenda against every team in Scotland that isn't Rangers. The guy is so pro-Rangers, it's unreal.
But everyone thinks he's not Rangers.
No,
Rangers fans think he's pro-Celtic.
No, there's no fucking chance. All you have to do is listen to Yuki Evans. He is 100% pro-Rangers.
He's a Rangers man.
I'm not saying he's a Rangers man, but he's at the moment he is pro-Rangers. Maybe he likes Clement. Maybe he's a big Clement fan.
Maybe he likes Clement. That's
maybe
fair
he wants
enough
to polish Clement's baldy dome. I don't know, right? But Yuki Evans, I'm not surprised. All you see him do is criticise Celtic, criticise Aberdeen. Is it any surprise that they are Rangers' 2 biggest rivals? Probably not. In terms of no longer a big club, if he's going to use that logic, then unfortunately that means that there's no big clubs in Scotland outside the Old Firm, because no team outside of Rangers Celtic win trophies enough on a regular basis to consider them a big club by his logic.
Yeah,
and if you want to bring in league titles, he was kind of downplaying. It's like trophies are one thing, but league titles are another. If you want to say that to be a big club in Scotland, you have to win a league trophy within every decade or 2 decades, then There is no big clubs in Scotland then outside of Rangers and Celtic because they're the only two teams that are winning the league, and they're the only two teams that in the foreseeable future are going to win the league. So I don't agree with that. For me, Aberdeen are still a massive club, whether they're winning or not. Manchester United have been shite for a decade now. They've won very little in that decade. They can barely get into the top four. But no one is going to sit here and say Manchester United are not a massive club.
No, I mean, I guess the parallel between Aberdeen and United, not Sir Alex Ferguson, is they're both being run like Diddy clubs. In the sense of the league they're in. Aberdeen, they spent the money in the summer, right, to actually cement third, or at least challenge Hearts, man. And they are 10th, looking like 11th.
How long did Rangers go if it win the trophy? 10 year?
Yeah.
That's longer than Aberdeen have went. Does that mean that Rangers were not a big club during that period? Every time Rangers were getting spanked off Celtic. See when Rangers were finishing third in the league behind Aberdeen, were they not a big club?
All I would say is I think 10 years. But then it's a weird one. I think 10 years is different to 40.
Were they not a big club? When Rangers were finishing third behind Aberdeen and they hadn't won a trophy, before they won that the league trophy, before they won that, were they a small club?
No, they weren't. But all I would say is with Aberdeen is, if this 40 years turns into 80 years, who Keevens ain't going to see that, by the way, right? No offence, I mean, hell, we might not see it.
But that's a possibility. We can't sit here and say, could you imagine if Aberdeen don't win the league in the next 40 years? That very well could happen.
No, but in a decade, right, people are still in a similar age bracket. See, 40 years, man, the world has changed. But then, you're right, like, where does that leave Hearts and Hibs and other teams like that? Other teams like Dundee United who won the league in the 80s?
St Johnstone have won the same amount of trophies as Rangers in the last 10 years. Does that mean St Johnstone are a bigger club as Rangers?
Of course it doesn't, but I mean, I can see where he's coming from, but I think
he's the worst pundit.
I think if you're saying Aberdeen aren't a big club, then you're right. You're ruling.
There's only two clubs in Scotland that are big.
Yep, and I mean, I think you could say that they've all
don't get me wrong,
dropped the ball.
Rangers and Celtic are the biggest two, and it's not even fucking close. See, the gap between Rangers and Celtic, then the next biggest club is massive. But that doesn't mean that the third biggest club isn't a big club.
Yeah, and for Aberdeen, I mean, is it going to get better anytime soon? But the problem is, see when Rangers went down, man, this is when Aberdeen, yeah, they finished second, but that's when Aberdeen should have took the fight to Celtic, man.
Pump money and they don't have? Do you think they should have been more adventurous, or?
Yeah, I mean, going up against Ronnie Delia, yeah, I do. I think so. Hearts and Hibs, what they were doing in those years were just as, well, I mean, it was way worse than Aberdeen. I was about to bury Aberdeen.
They weren't even in the league, so I mean.
Yeah, but that's way worse. They were getting points deductions, jobbing out, like, I mean, Ian Cathro experiments and things like that. Absolute disasters, but yeah, I mean...
That was way after that.
I know it was way after that, but let's just talk about the present day, which is 2024, midway through March. Aberdeen, I mean, are they going to go down? I think they're nailed on for the playoffs. I think the way they're playing, I just don't see it getting better. I don't. When I say nailed on, I think they will end up in the playoffs. I am about 60% sure they'll go in the playoffs.
They're 9 points behind Dundee with 4 games left to play. They cannot get top 6.
No.
They
can't get top 8 for me.
They would need to win their last 4 games and hope that Hibernian and Dundee don't win. And the problem is, for Aberdeen, it's not even like all they need to do is catch Dundee. Hibs are on a good run of form as of late. Hibs in their last 5 league games haven't lost. They've got 9 points out of 15, 2 wins and 3 draws. There's no way that Dundee or Hibs are just going to completely fall off the face of the earth in the next 4 games.
The problem is for Aberdeen, you say they lost 4 in a row. If they continue this form into the split where they're playing teams around them and they lose 4 in a row, they will sink. It's alright losing 4 in a row when some of your games are against St Mirren, Killie, Celtic, Hearts, Rangers, but if you lose 4 in a row and you're losing to the 2 teams below you in that 4, I mean, you're humped.
If Livy can reduce the gap by the time the split happens, if they can get the gap to about 6 or 7 points, I'd be worried if I was Aberdeen.
You think they're going down if that happens?
Well, they don't look like winning games.
No, they don't. Yeah, it's like the Killie game. I think it was a freak incident, which is weird to think. Like Aberdeen winning 3-1 at home is a freak incident, but yeah, I mean, I think it's not looking good for them. if they go down with Miovski in the team, man, and players Duke.
It's crazy that when Miovski will go this season, and Aberdeen, instead of getting the best out of Miovski, they're just, he's a great player that's just part of a team that is languishing in 10th place. Like, that's not...
But if Aberdeen go do, what's it going to do to them financially?
No, but Aberdeen with a striker like Miovski, this is when they should be challenging. Alright, fair play. They're in the Scottish League Cup final. They're in the semi-finals. Who knows? They could still maybe win a trophy. Not denying that. But you'd think that Aberdeen, with a striker of Miovski's ability, this is when they should be pushing. If you want to try and close the gap to the top two, if you want to try and make a fight for the league, if you want to try and put in one of your better seasons, you'd think it would be when they have someone the calibre of Miovski. Fuck, if they're 10th with Miovski, like, what are they going to be without him?
11 games without a win in the league.
No, but this would be like Hearts having Shankland. And instead of, being easily the third best team, instead of, upsetting the Old Firm in, like, individual games, instead of, like, trying to get challenging for cups and getting to the Hampden set, imagine having Shankland and you're getting knocked out the cups early and you're sitting in the bottom six. What's the fucking point?
No, what is the point?
And here, so let's say Miovski is actually content at Aberdeen. Let's say he was interested in staying due to last season and the fact that, they got into Europe, the guaranteed group stages. He wanted to stay for that. He thought, I'm going to stay at Aberdeen. We're the third best team. We'll be in Europe, guaranteed European games. We'll challenge for the cups and we'll see if we can close the gap to the top two. Like, why would he want to stay next season? Right. Even if Aberdeen stay in the league, like, what, he's going to be thinking, fuck, no European football. We're a disaster. I mean, we finished bottom half. We're not heading in the right direction. Chances of me winning anything here are slim to none.
Aberdeen do take on Motherwell in the next game, away from home at Fir Park, Ross County at home to Hearts. So, I mean, I think both teams will probably realistically lose both of them.
No, but right now, who's more likely to stay at their club next season? Shankland at Hearts or Miovski at Aberdeen?
Shankland.
It's because Hearts are doing well, and you can make an argument for why he'd want to stay there. Like, Hearts can open up contract talks, and they can, they can use the position they're in. They can say, look, we're building towards something. We want you to be part of this. We're over the next couple of seasons. We're going to try and bring the gap down to the old. What can Aberdeen say to Miovski? We're pish and we're in 10th place.
We'll try not to be as pish next season.
It's a joke. Like, anyway, Aberdeen, they slipped up against Ross County. Had they won, they would have been in the top six, but they didn't, and now they find themselves a point behind Dundee.
Tell you what, had they won, they could have been beating St Mirren and Kelly. They'd be close.
Yeah, they would be close. And
I mean, they still are close, I guess. I mean, they're 6 points behind Kelly, 7 behind St Mirren. If you put her on the Geller, you can catch that. But it's if you can put her on the Geller. And if you're going to put her on the Geller, I think you need to be beating Ross County. But it's a crucial point for Ross County.
Yeah, I mean, at one point it was looking like whoever gets sixth is just going to be no man's land. But now, all of a sudden, like you said, I mean, Hibernian are only 7 points behind St Mirren. 6 points behind Kilmarnock. If they can get into the top six, then there's no reason why they still can't get European football.
Yep, absolutely not. But I would rather St Mirren and Kelly get Europe over Dundee or Hibs.
Well, I think they deserve it. I think overall they've been solid teams this season.
Yeah, I mean,
and it'd be sad if they just fell away at the end, and then a team like Hibernian, who, no offence, just don't really deserve a European spot for next season. Considering how poor they've been this season.
If we're looking at Dundee, Kelly, St Mirren, if I was to pick a team who's going to do the worst in Europe out of those three, it would be Dundee.
Aye, so, yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much it. But Johan, there was a bit of controversy with his equaliser in the 98th minute, something to do with a throw-in. Hibs fans were greeting, Hibs players were greeting.
Not like them?
Not like them. It's been about, 3 days since the last greeting session, so not like them at all, but Hibs, they needed to win this game. That's another game against Ross County they've drew 2 each this season. I've noticed that about them. But Livingston, what about them? That's them now, 7 points further afield for Ross County. They need to win their next game, don't they? Well, I mean, that's a given, I guess.
Yeah, they need to win more than the next game. They need to...
Oh, Livy play Hibs next. There you go.
Yeah, Livy, I think they need to win that.
Kelly plays St Mirren next, so therefore Hibs win. They'll close points no matter what.
Yeah, if St Mirren can beat Kelly, they'll go 4 points clear. It doesn't automatically secure them that place, but it would put them in a strong position. Dundee are at home against Rangers. Could do with a result to try and hold off Hibs, but Rangers are going to be hard to beat because they're the best team in Scotland right now. So after that, we have the Aberdeen Ross County game. It's going to be massive. Then Rangers take on Hibernian. So Rangers could decide here. Rangers slipping up could decide who gets top 6 because they play Hibernian and Dundee back to back. So
yep, you'll have to wait and see.
Rangers having an off game and allowing one of those teams to pick up a surprising 3 points could be a big difference maker. But I mean, Livingston, their next 2 games, away at Easter Road and then at home against Celtic.
Then at home against Aberdeen and away to Hearts. Livy are down. Livy are humped. I mean, I know Aberdeen are pissed, right? But even if they win that, the other 3 they're getting nothing from, man.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Not looking good for them, guys. But that's it for your Wednesday night recap. 2 games on. Neither was on television, which, again, it's just shite TV deal, isn't it?
Aye.
I mean, pretty big games here, considering the state that Aberdeen are in, and Ross County and Hibs. But anyway, guys, that's it for Fog Football. We'll be back very soon. We'll probably have to do a Rangers Benfica preview, because, hell, the coefficient needs it, doesn't it?
It does. We need a big win for Rangers. Hopefully they can deliver.
Peace.